First episode of the off season. Technically, this whole thing is the off season, but this is the off season. First episode, mini series, training camp, position battles, talking quarterbacks. What is up, Finn fans? How you doing on the first Monday of no football at all? There's no training camp. There's no mini camp. There's no OTAs. There's nothing. It's just nothing. But here we go with all the content I got for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's gonna be a fun one. Real quick though, officially, the PO box is open. It is linked in the description. I'll probably put it here as well. Maybe I'll pop it up over here. Don't feel like you need to send me anything, or I'm asking you to send me anything. If you feel inclined to, send me a letter, send me whatever. PO box, it's also in the description. It will be in the description for the rest of my videos. So if you're ever like, hey, I want to send him something, just scroll down in the, I don't have it up yet because it's in this video, but just scroll down in the description and it's right there. Boom, PO box gives you the address and everything. If you want to send me something, don't feel like you need to. If I get enough stuff, I'll do a big old mail opening video. If not, I'll normally just open them at the end of the video for somewhat of a comment of the day. That's the one thing. Second thing, trivia. Busting this sucker out again. Trivia for today. Who caught an 11-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa 12 seconds from the end of the third quarter for the go-ahead points and the Dolphins 31-27 win at the Lions in Week 8 of 2022? One more time. Who caught an 11-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa 12 seconds from the end of the third quarter for the go-ahead points in the Dolphins 31-27 win at Detroit in Week 8 of 2022? If you want to know who, it's at the end of the video. So we're going to talk, obviously, this whole series is really looking at each position and seeing kind of where the battles are, who's fighting to make a roster spot, who's fighting to get a starting spot, or who's fighting to get a backup spot or anything. It's battles. It's the whole position battle, who's vying for where. Now, obviously, there's some areas where there is a legit battle, like cornerback, possibly safety, tight end. You know, there are some battles here and there. There are some that aren't really battles. But we're going to do each position. So if you look at the depth chart, we're going to go quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight end, offensive line. I'm doing offensive line as a whole. Defensive line, pass rushers. Yes, separate. Linebackers, corners, safeties. So I got a plenty to do, plenty to give you. And obviously, I'll have other videos in between all of this stuff. So like I said, we're starting with quarterbacks. Obviously, we have Tua Tagovailoa as our starting quarterback. A very prolific, if you want to say, there's a portion of the fan base that does not like him. And that's me being nice. They don't like him. They would give up the season. They would give up whatever they could to get the man off the team. It's just, it is what it is. There's another portion of the fan base that loves him. He could do no wrong. And then there's a majority of the fan base that wants him to succeed because we're Dolphin fans, but also can see where he struggles. And at the end of the day, if he keeps getting hurt and he keeps struggling, we have no problems moving on from him. Those are called unbiased Dolphin fans. But God forbid you say something positive about that man, because then you're labeled as something. God forbid you're critical of him, because then you're labeled as something. It gets annoying after a while. But there's Tua, right? Tua is your starter. There's no unseating Tua. This is the year that Tua needs to come out and prove. Again, it's every year for the past 4, now 5. He's got to prove it. Prove that you're the franchise quarterback. Prove, and it's like, how many more years are we going to say prove it? To me, this is it. Because again, after this season, they can move off from him and save a ton of money. I have already talked about that, and obviously I'll talk about it again when the time does arise. But obviously Tua is your quarterback when he's healthy. Obviously to me, a healthy Tua, I'd probably, and I'm going to do a quarterback ranking list, but a healthy Tua, I would probably put him between 10 and 12. right? Because there's still some of the inconsistencies. There's still some of the things he needs to work on. He has really hot games and he has really cold games. No pun intended. So there's those inconsistencies there. But I put him healthy Tua between 10 and 12. I think he's either 10 or he's right outside the 10 for quarterback ranking. When Tua's not healthy, I put him between like 12 and 15. Because you can't really rely on him. But there's Tua, right? And I have a ton of stats, but I'm not going to bore you with these stats because this episode necessarily isn't about Tua, because there is no camp battle position for Tua, right? I have plenty of videos for my expectations of him, and we're going to break down some things that Warren Sharp said about him. I got a ton of stuff we'll talk about Tua, kind of really getting a good assessment on Tua and what we could possibly see from him this season. But the biggest question and the biggest battle is from our 2 and 3. Now, obviously, we have Brett Gabbert on the team. He's not going to make the roster, right? Brett Gabbert is a camp body. Brett Gabbert is going to come in. We just need another quarterback to not wear out the arms of the guys who are potentially going to start Tua or be a backup. So Brett Gabbert's there to just help us get the ball out to all of the potential receivers, running backs, tight ends that we have. He will have his opportunity in preseason to hopefully do something enough to make a roster, but Brett Gabbert's not making the team. You have Zach Wilson. You have Quinn Ewers. That is where the camp battle at this position entails. And to me, unfortunately, again, is there really a battle? Right? Because you have Zach Wilson coming in. From our understanding, and again, it's just OTs and minicamp, but he is struggling. He's struggling to understand the offense. He's struggling to get the ball out quick. He's kind of struggling, and he even made the joke that saying, what did he say? It was something like, I've never been told, to throw the ball quicker or whatever, but he's struggling. He's struggling to grasp this offense. And obviously that is probably a big reason why Sean Payton moved on from him and paid another quarterback who's not as good, or a journeyman. Who is their backup quarterback? I'm going to look it up while I'm talking. But decided to pay another quarterback besides keeping Zach Wilson. And that should have been a red flag for the Miami Dolphins. Jarrett Stidham. They decided to go with Jarrett Stidham over Zach Wilson. And you would think, and even Sam Heilinger, you would think that would be a red flag for the Dolphins, right? Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, and Sean Payton has done some things with quarterbacks with Drew Brees and even with Teddy Bridgewater. How good was Teddy Bridgewater with Sean Payton in New Orleans? But you would think that would, like, a little birdie or alarm would go off in the Miami Dolphins' head, being like, if Zach Wilson can't stick around with Sean Payton and they go with Jarrett Stidham over Zach Wilson, maybe we should look in a different direction for a backup quarterback. But no, the Dolphins did not, and they ended up paying him and giving him a $6 million contract that they cannot move off of. They could cut him, right? And there will be no negative impact of cutting him, but he still runs away with that $6 million, or you could possibly trade him, who would trade for him, and you save like $1.2 million. But overall, that move, and if you go back in time and watch my video over the fact of us signing Zach Wilson, I was like, huh? Because I wasn't angry about it, but I also wasn't like, there was other options out there at backup that were better than Zach Wilson, right? And again, he's struggling. He's right now struggling to understand the offense because he doesn't fit in this style of offense. This isn't his bread and butter, but he's being paid $6 million. And that's where the whole conundrum of, is there really a legit competition for the backup quarterback position? Because are you going to take a guy that you have paid $6 million and say, you're going to be our third string and we're going to have this 7th round rookie be our backup? Me personally, I would have a legit competition between the two because you have Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers came into the 2024 season a hot commodity. Go look at the cover of NCAA football. Quinn Ewers is on it. There was a lot of talk, a lot of stuff surrounding Quinn Ewers coming into the college football season, how there's high hopes for him in Texas and this, and that. And then obviously it didn't pan out for him. And a lot of things happened and he slid in the draft and fell to the Miami Dolphins at 7. But if you were, if you were subscribed to my channel during that time period, or if you were in the know with some of the stuff that would happen with the Dolphins, drafting Quinn Ewers shouldn't have been a surprise to you, because the Dolphins met with him and then he came down to Miami. He went out to dinner with them. Like, they essentially put the ring on his finger without putting the ring on his finger. And then when he was still there in the 7th round, they were like, hey, do me a favor, call Quinn and just tell him he's going to be coming to Miami. And then who do you want with the other 7th round pick? Like, it was like a foregone conclusion. Plus, Quinn Ewers' offense at Texas is very similar to the offense that the Dolphins are running. And that is another reason why this draft pick was not like a head scratcher, right? Both offenses emphasize pre-snap motion, timing, route concepts, quick games, and RPO timing. So it's that whole, and if you notice, a lot of these interceptions are coming from Zach Wilson. You got some interceptions here and there from Quinn Ewers, but obviously there's a difference between Zach. Comment below, even though this isn't a live video. Comment below. What is the biggest difference between Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers besides one of them knows the offense better than the other? I'll give you a second. One is a rookie and one is not a rookie. So for me, again, seeing Zach Wilson throwing all these interceptions and minicamp and stuff, I'm like, again, it's minicamp. I'll kind of give him the benefit of the doubt and kind of like try to bring it down, but can you not? And then when Quinn Ewers throws, again, you have like Zach Wilson throwing 2 or 3 and you have Quinn Ewers throwing 1. I'm like, all right, rookie, you'll learn because he's a rookie. But I wouldn't be surprised if you ask unbiased, like, obviously you can't ask the coach because he's going to give you a PC answer. But if you ask somebody behind the scenes that could tell you the legit answer, they'd probably tell you that Quinn Ewers is doing much better than Zach Wilson. And he's getting the offense more because he knows it. He's also a very intelligent quarterback. So again, there's that whole competition between those backup quarterbacks. And again, to me, I would take the fact that they paid Zach Wilson $6 million and I would just put it aside. And I would just watch how these two quarterbacks play and how they compete. And obviously, as Dolphin fans, I'm going to be down at training camp. I'm going to be traveling down. I'm going to be to the 2 camps. So I'll be able to give you, with my own eyeballs, my own feelings on how are these guys performing. But we also get to see it in preseason because Tua's not going to be playing a lot of preseason. You know, there's really no point in him and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and, you know, Devon Achane and some of these guys, even like, I wouldn't be upset if some of these guys just didn't play preseason at all because there's just no point, right? Some of them, sure, like maybe Sealer would probably fight to want to play more. A whole offensive line I'm playing throughout all preseason, maybe not James Daniels. But obviously we're going to see a lot of Zach Wilson and a lot of Quinn Ewers. So you'll be able to see it with your own eyes. And again, like I said to you guys, I think it was the first and last game are nationally televised. So everyone's going to be watching it. But that, again, if I'm the Dolphins, I take the $6 million, put it aside, and I watch these 2 quarterbacks. And whichever one can command this offense and there's no big drop off. Now, obviously, there's going to be a drop off from your starter to your backup because it's just, there's a reason one's a starter, one's a backup. Pick the one that isn't a huge drop off where we have the past couple of years where Tua got hurt. The gameplay and the offense drops down drastically to the point where we lose. Because again, I'm at the point now, I have no faith in Tua to stay healthy. He came out and he's made his presser saying, you know, I have to take care of myself. My team depends on me, yada, yada. But he said it before. Once the game starts and the lights are on and the ball's snapped, Tua goes into Samoan mode and, you know, he's like, I need to help my team and screw this concussion. I'm taking off. And then all of a sudden we're screwed. If Quinn Ewers is the best quarterback to keep us winning, play him. So again, if I had to choose between these 2 guys to be the backup as of right now today, and a lot can change. So, you know, opinions are allowed to change. That's the other thing. I get called a flip-flopper and I get called this and that. Like, people want me to stick with one narrative, right? Tua has great games. Stick with that narrative, Doug. Don't change your narrative. He had great games. Why all of a sudden are you being critical of him because he had a bad game? Because that's what you do, man. I'm reacting to what's on the field. Same thing with me saying, again, like right now, I would if I had to pick right now, I want Quinn Ewers as the backup quarterback. I think he's getting the offense quicker, and I like the way his playing is. Ask me come September 1st, I might tell you Quinn Ewers ain't doing it. Zach Wilson actually is really picking it up. People are allowed to change their opinion, and I find it funny that on the internet and on Twitter and stuff, you're not allowed to change your opinion. find that funny. But again, as of right now, Quinn Ewers to me should be the backup. Take that $6 million, shove it up your butt. I want the best guy to be the backup because again, I just till I'm proven otherwise with what Mike McDaniel and Tua said, I need to see it before I can believe it. I need a viable backup, and between those two, Quinn Ewers. Watch Brett Gabbert comes out and he's like the best thing we've seen since sliced bread. That'd be funny. But comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about this backup quarterback position and the battle? Do you agree with me that it really isn't one because of the $6 million? But comment below. Here's the answer to the Quivia. Because question and trivia, Quivia. Who caught the 11-yard touchdown pass from Tua 12 seconds from the end of the third quarter for the go-ahead points and the Dolphins' 31-27 victory over the Lions Week 8 of 2022? The answer is tight end Mike Gesicki, who is now with the Cincinnati Bengals still. Yeah, I think he's still with the Bengals. Got a nice payday. More than Jonnu Smith. Hilarious to me. I will see you tomorrow. I have a reaction video tomorrow. I think we're going to do a reaction video tomorrow. I'm thinking of doing a Q&A at some point. I've got my tier list going, all that stuff. Again, you want to send something to the P.O. Box, it is linked below. I'll see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.